Hey everybody, welcome back from the break. I asked an old and dear friend and veteran of the network marketing profession to come over. His name is Todd Smith. This is Todd. He is a local. He lives in Siesta Key, what he calls paradise. And after being here a little while, I have to agree that it's amazing. I can see why he doesn't want to leave, travel around and do all the stuff that he's done up until this point in his career. But I asked him over, and we just thought we'd just do a little back and forth. I'd talk to him a little bit about the profession and some of the things that he's learned, some of the lessons that he's learned, and I thought you'd get value from that. So, Todd, welcome.
All right, well, thank you. It's great to be here and a great looking group of people, so thanks for taking time on a beautiful day like this to be here.
So you are one of these professional guys, and prior to getting involved in network marketing, you were a professional, right? What did you do?
My background prior to the industry, which I've been in the industry now for 21 years, was as a residential real estate agent in the Chicago market. And
looking at network marketing, after you were successful in the residential real estate market, why did you look at network marketing?
Well, when I was in real estate, I was successful. I pushed myself very hard, much like I pushed myself in this industry. I was at that time the second highest producing real estate agent in the state of Illinois, top 15 in the United States, selling more than 100 homes a year, and that was in my mid-20s. And I remember driving down the road one day and looking at my life, and my life was out of control. I had a pager that went off almost 24 hours a day. That was before the little cell phones that we have now. And it just, it was such that I couldn't even go on a date with my wife on a Friday night without getting out of, done with the date and having 15 messages and 3 offers that need to be presented. And the same was true on Sundays, which has always been my family day. And I just said, is this how I want to live the rest of my life? And that was one question that took me about 30 seconds to answer, and that is no, I don't want to live this way the rest of my life.
Was there any moment, because usually when a person's in the game, they're paddling hard, they're hustling like crazy, and they don't have time to think about that kind of stuff. Was there something that happened that led you to that 30-second conversation in your head?
Nothing that I can specifically recall that occurred, but something did occur because 30 days earlier I had been approached by somebody on the same company that I ended up joining, but I had no interest at that time. So when we talk about timing in one's life, 30 days earlier I had no interest. So I don't know exactly what happened. It's been a long time, and I don't remember a lot after 20 years.
Stressful.
Yeah,
there must have been some stress going on.
Yeah, and just probably some fights at home and stuff like that from working all the time.
Right. So you finally decided, you said, okay, I've got to do something. And then what were your options? When you started to look at options, what was your list of options to make a change?
Well, what I did is, I wish I would have saved it because I would frame it now, but I had a yellow legal size pad, and I said, okay, what's important to me in my life? What do I value? What would I want to do? And, as I started to consider my options, I immediately ruled out working for anybody. I didn't want to work for anybody. So I said, if I'm going to be in business for myself, what kind of business do I want to be in? And I remember making the list: no employees, no paperwork, minimal accounting, work from my home.
You weren't here for this part. Did it look kind of like that list?
Oh, yeah. Many of those same things, and I had simple things like I want to be able to go on a date without being bothered. I want to be able to take a weekend off and not worry about things going wrong. I want to be able to take a week vacation and just enjoy myself. So I had some pretty simple things on the list in addition to all of those. And as I looked at my options, there weren't very many options that met that list. And then I looked at this industry, and like many of you, I'd had a negative perception of the industry based upon the way people had approached me, and I was open though, and I said, let me really understand this industry so that I can make an informed decision. And I studied the industry and really believed that this was the way that I could live the lifestyle that I now live. I felt like for me it was a matter of finding the right vehicle where I could apply myself and work hard and make a residual income rather than a linear income, and So today I probably work my business less than 10 hours a week, but I enjoy a residual income that comes from an organization that does over $5 million a month in sales. So, I live the dream. It's what I worked hard for. It's the reason that, I paid the price that I did.
See, did you catch in what he just said that his understanding, he sought understanding. He wasn't motivated by, somebody didn't come and get him all psyched up. He studied, there were people who helped him understand. And that's our job when we're out there talking to a professional, anybody, is to help them understand. Then it'll either be part of their life, it'll fit in their life plan, or it won't. But understanding is really the key. And you've done a great job over the course of your career teaching people how to present what they have in the network marketing profession in a way that helps others understand it. Mm-hmm. What do you think you've done that's been unique down that road?
Well, probably, if I was to tell you the number one reason for my success is because I have strived for excellence. I've strived to be the best of the best at all the little things that go into what we do. And, it doesn't matter if it's a professional sports team, it doesn't matter if it's a company like Apple or an organization, a NASCAR team, it doesn't matter. The best of the best are the best for a reason, and that's because they strive for excellence at the little things. And just like Eric talking about how to invite today, it's all about increasing your percentages. It's all about, what can I do to have the highest percentage of people that I call agree to take a look at my business or agree to take a look at my products. And it's about making little refinements in what you say that improve your results. And that's just, we can take a look at each of the elements of the business, from the invitation to the presentation to the follow-up call to the three-way call to, asking for a decision, to getting your people started, to helping them build successful businesses, to helping them develop as leaders. It's all about the little things that make people exceptional in this business. And what I have learned is that when you strive for excellence at these little things, when you push yourself to be the best of the best at these little things, everybody in your organization is watching you. And so first of all, you're leading by example because your people will do what you do, not what you say. And so by you pushing yourself to be the best, you will become a better teacher. You'll be able to teach these little things, these little refinements that you're making in your business that are making you better. You will become a much more effective teacher of those little things. And so if you just strive for excellence and you're constantly every day, how do I increase my odds of getting more people to look at the business? Okay, how do I increase the odds of the people who look at it to having more of them have an interest in learning more? How do I more effectively build their belief and confidence to get the highest percentage of those people that have an interest to make a decision? So if those are your goals, is to increase your percentages, then it's all about doing the little things that apply to you personally. It may not be the same little things that I would do, but the little things that make you unique and different, the relationships that you have that allow you to become the best that you can be.
And here's what I will tell you. You've heard him say little things a number of times. He has a book called Little Things Matter, and it's an amazing book. It is such a study of important distinctions in your business. And where can they find that?
You can get it on Amazon, or you can go to littlethingsmatter.com.
It's really, really good. I highly, highly recommend it. Talk about when you first got started, your learning curve of going from professional real estate, hustle, hard-working dude to network marketing professional. What was that transition like? Did you approach it the same way you did real estate? Did you learn how to do it a little different?
Well, first of all, I've learned that if you want to be successful at anything, the smartest thing you can do is to learn from those who've been successful. And so I have learned that over and over again in my life, everything from coaching, my children in sports to hiring professional athletes that can help teach those little refinements, those little fundamentals. So the first thing I did when I came into this industry is I was coachable. Even though I did...
That's not usually an attribute of the super salesperson. They're usually the other way. It's just like, look, let me show you how to do this fast. You got this silly little thing. I'll bring all my skills and all my abilities, and you don't know who you're talking to. kind of
Which is why I'm making this point.
Yeah, it's rare
Yeah.
what you're doing right now, or what you did.
And it was the key to my success, because if I had come into this thinking I knew it all when I didn't know anything, then that would have been stupid, right? I mean, I'd have been applying thoughts that don't work to something that I've never done before. So, the first thing I did is I said, okay, I want to learn this industry. I want to learn what makes people successful in this industry. I want to learn what makes them the best of the best. And so, kind of like when I got started as a real estate agent, I identified the #1 selling real estate agent in the country. He lived in Colorado. I flew out there. I spent a day with him. The same type of thing I did here. When I got started in this industry, I flew to Utah, and I met with 3 different people that were making over $500,000 a month in this industry. And asked them the questions that I needed to have answered to understand what I needed to do to be great at what I was doing. And so, I was coachable. I was brought in by a sponsor that was a very good coach. And I remember him asking me, Todd, are you coachable? And I said, yes. And he said, are you going to waste my time? And I said, no. And
good questions to ask, by the way.
Yeah.
Good questions to ask, even if you're just getting started, when you bring in a new person.
And so
are you coachable? You're going to waste my time. Great questions, good posture questions.
And so he coached me, and I followed his coaching. And he was fortunately somebody who strived for excellence at what he was doing, so I was able to learn the little things from him. And it made a huge difference. I mean, I had an organization of more than 1,600 people within 4 months after having never been in this industry before. And it was.
How many did you personally sponsor? In the first months?
In the first week, I sponsored 9. The first full presentation that we had, and then I had a smattering of others that joined. But we were so focused on getting these people going that I didn't have time to really go and recruit a whole lot more people.
Over the course of the first month, was it 15,
probably about 20 people, yeah.
20. I will give you one little observation after 24 years in the profession. The high-income earners sponsor in their first month 15 to 20 people. 15 to 20. Now, the good news for those of you who did not do that is any day you want, you can restart your business and do that again.
Today.
You can go sponsor 15 or 20 in the next 30 days. If you make a decision and you're willing to talk to enough people, go talk to 100 people, walk them through the presentation, whatever. We're going to give you some skills to do that today. But I've seen and I've talked to so many $1 million plus earners. You go back to that beginning, and they got enough raw materials kind of in the pipeline that typically 3 to 5 of those initial 20 generated most of their income.
That's true for me too.
Yeah, so how many of those generated your income out of that initial group?
Well, 3 of those people that joined the first month, I probably made over $15 million from those organizations alone, just those 3, first month.
And then after that, you made another 5 million plus.
From other people, yeah.
Right. Other organizations, but isn't that something? Now, did those people that you brought in, did they have any background or experience in the profession?
No.
No? So they were brand new, getting started, learning to do a new skill. So you don't have to find some monster of the Midway, somebody who's done this before, some grand poobah who lives over on the beach somewhere. And if you get them, then you'll be able to be rich. It's about average folks, helping average folks. And you approached it with a professional, which I love, because the whole idea of Network Marketing Pro is to get everybody thinking about this not as a lottery ticket, but as a profession, as something, I'm going to be professional here in what I do with all these little things in order to be able to feel better about me and to help my group feel better about what we do. So, interesting. Just file that away, the 15 to 20 rule. It's very interesting. And you can restart any day you want. You can restart it. You can draw a line in the sand. And there's another huge list of people. Jordan Adler, an interview I just recently did with him. Did you know that he joined 11 companies in 10 years and never sponsored one person in that entire experience? And then his 12th company, he made $8 million. And he sponsored 20 people, 15, 20 people that first month, made $8 million. Excel. And the Excel went out of business. When you got a product that eventually becomes free, you're going to go out of business. But Excel went out of business, and he joined another company after choosing for a while. He's a professional. Brought in another 20 or so people in that first month, and he's made another $8 million. But just goes to show you, those first 11 experiences that he had didn't define him for the rest of his life. He changed. It wasn't about finding lightning in a bottle. He changed. And, then opportunity added to that. Okay, so you build this, you have this amazing group. What lessons do you think stand out for you over the course of your first year or two? When you're first getting going, what were the biggest lessons that you needed to develop?
It was all about mastering the invitation call. It was about mastering the presentation. It was about mastering the follow-up call. It was about mastering the three-way phone call. It was about mastering getting someone started correctly. It was about mastering the coaching and the mentoring. It was doing the basic fundamentals.
Go through that list again for those taking notes.
So, I kind of look at the business step by step. My mind just works step by step. So step one is you invite. And by the way, that is the beginning of the duplication process. A lot of people think that when you sponsor somebody is when the duplication process begins. No, it's when you call them. You're teaching them how to invite. And remember, they will never forget how you invited them. They'll never forget how you presented the business to them. They'll never forget how you followed up with them. They'll never forget the three-way phone call they had. They'll never forget how you got them started. They'll never forget this stuff. It lays the foundation largely into who they become. And so step one is the invitation call. Step two is the presentation. So you invite somebody to a presentation. From there, you're going to determine their interest. If it's a follow-up call, it might be a simple question like, are you open to learning more? My favorite question, are you open to learning more? It's better than are you interested in learning more, because more people are open to learning more than interested in learning more. So it's about these
and he's learned the difference with these few little words. Do a few little words matter? They matter a lot.
Yeah.
I've borrowed some of his best material over the course of my career. One of them is between you and me. Just between us, he'll say to somebody, between you and me, what's your real level of interest? And by adding that at the beginning of people go, well, all right, and then they'll talk to you differently.
Or even on the invitation, when you're talking to somebody, it's like, just off the record. Just between
off the record.
Yeah, just between you and I,
Bob.
Bob.
Off the record.
Just between you and I, Bob. How are things really going for you? Because some people will give you, you ask a salesperson how they're doing, they're always going to tell you they're doing great, right? So just off the record. Just between us. How are things really going for you?
It's amazing. What he just said is amazing, because people say, okay, what he's really saying is put down your image for a moment, and let's be human beings.
And you get an honest answer. And the whole objective of the invitation call, in my opinion, is finding people that have the need or desire for what you have to offer. And the only way you're going to know if they have the need or desire for what you're offering is by asking questions. You will not determine it by just running your mouth. And so it's all about asking good questions. And by asking good questions, you all of a sudden become a professional, rather than the perception that most people have in network marketing, where you're just coming at somebody. I got something for you. You got to take a look at this. When are you available? How soon can we get together? It's about being professional in the way you approach your business. And if you are a professional in the way you approach your business, beginning with that invitation call, people will say, I can be like you. You're different than what I've seen other people. And I can see myself building my business the way you have been building yours with me. I respect that. And that will cause people to be more open to looking at your business, all by the way that you conduct yourself.
So we were on, where were we at?
On the steps?
Yeah, on the steps.
Okay, so we got step one is the invitation call. Step two is the presentation, whatever that looks like for you. Step three is you determine interest. If you're face-to-face with somebody, you will know oftentimes their level of interest by your interaction and by the questions and by their body language. If it's a phone call, are you open to learning more? So you got the determined interest. And then if they're interested or if they're open to learning more, it's about building their belief. And that's where the three-way phone calls come in play. That's where presentations like this come in play. It's where you might have somebody watch one of your company videos. You might give them one of your company CDs. You might have them read one of your company brochures or magazines. It's about building their belief, giving them the information that they need in order to make an informed decision as to whether the business that you're offering is right for them or the product or service that you're offering is right for them. So it's about building belief and then the decision. And in my opinion, getting a decision is a real simple process. If you've built a relationship with somebody and you've determined why they would consider doing your business, and you have found out what they need to know to make an informed decision and you've provided that information, then getting a decision is not about trying to ask for a decision. It comes automatically when you just take people through a logical belief-building process. And then, you get somebody that makes that decision to get started, but then where most people drop the ball, and when I say most people, I would say 95% of the people, once they sponsor somebody, they think they're done. And that is just the beginning. I mean, keep in mind this, all of my income, 99.9% of my income has come from people I never sponsored. It came from people downline of those people. So this is a business of duplication. And like I said, it begins with the invitation call, but everything you do, you're teaching them how to do your business, which is why you always want to lead by example. But when somebody makes that decision to get started, you want to make sure you get them started within 48 hours, meaning that they are putting their list together, they've reviewed with you what their goals are, their commitment, you've helped them place their startup product or order or whatever it is, auto ship, whatever it is that your company offers, that you've helped them get started, and that they are clear on what their plan is as they get started. And the only way they're going to get clear on their plan is if you help them become clear on their plan, and their plan should be consistent with what their goals are. I mean, a lot of times when people sponsor people that quit, they say, Bob, he just quit. Another one of those people. No. When I have somebody quit, I'm like, hey, what did I do wrong? Okay? I mean, obviously I sponsored Bob. He had the desire. Otherwise, I wouldn't have sponsored him. What went wrong? What could I have done differently? And so it's all about constantly asking yourself those questions. What can I do differently? Coming to an event like this or listening to Eric's tapes, it's not a matter of what you are doing. What is he talking about that I'm not doing? That's what you want to be asking yourself. What are these guys talking about that I'm not doing? It's making those refinements that you're not doing that will help you achieve much greater results. So,
I love that. Let me go back for a second and ask you about, you talked about presentation, getting together for a presentation. A lot of people think because of technology that you never have to meet with anybody anymore. You can just, have them watch a video online or talk to them over the phone, or what is your opinion in today's world about live meetings, about face-to-face presentations versus virtual, electronic?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that's hurt this industry, in my opinion, has been the internet. This is a business of face-to-face relationships. This is a business where, we've always talked about over the years that, that it's the relationships that hold this business together, and it is. And it's very difficult to build relationships, the kind of relationships that last forever over the internet or over the phone. It is about getting together face to face. It is about understanding the needs and desires of the people that you have. It is about working with them and strengthening those relationships. Because when they get down and discouraged, if they don't have a close relationship with you, that's when they quit. It's when you've got that close relationship and they get down discouraged and saying, you know what, I can't quit. I mean, I told Todd that I wouldn't let him down. He asked me what kind of commitments that I make when I do things, and I told him I'm very committed and I got to follow through. You want them having that conversation because of their relationship with you that they're not going to quit.
What kind of commitments do I make when I do things? Wow, that's a really good question. If you're getting somebody started, asking them, what kind of commitments do you make when you do things?
Yeah.
Are they just kind of average commitments, or are they serious commitments? That's an amazing little 1% distinction that'll get your person started completely different if you ask that question.
Well, also by asking these questions throughout the interview process, I'll call it, people no longer feel like you're chasing them. Mm-hmm. They now feel like you're interviewing them. And when people feel like they're being interviewed, with the hope of maybe being able to work with you, it completely changes the dynamics of the conversation.
But you're serious about that.
Right, absolutely.
If they don't convince you, you won't sponsor them.
Well, because the number one waste of time, without doubt, the number one waste of time is sponsoring the wrong people. It takes 7 hours to sponsor the wrong person. And that's 7 hours of wasted time.
Turns into 700.
Yeah, it's 7 hours of wasted opportunities. And so...
No, it's the amount of time that you're going to spend with that person trying to get them to be the right person.
Yeah, then it's even
afterwards.
worse. Yeah, that's even more hours.
Yeah.
But it's all about for me, it's why I sponsored less than 50 people. I mean, I made $24 million and sponsored fewer than 50 people because I don't waste my time. I mean, the first year I did, but I don't waste my time working with people that aren't going to pay the price that's required to succeed. And, it's for me, it's about determining, does this person have a desire that's strong enough that when they get down and discouraged, that they will continue on. That when it's time for them to pick up that phone, the hardest thing to do in this business, when it's time to pick up that phone and their heart is beating out of their chest, will they pick up the phone or not? And if their desire is not great enough, they won't. They'll make excuses, and you'll hear them all. They won't follow through. Because the only people who are successful in life are those who have the desire to be successful. The people who are super successful are the people who had the desire to be super successful and were willing to pay the price and do what was necessary to become super successful. So for me, it's all about interviewing people, asking good questions. If you were to do this, why would you do this? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is that to you? When you make a commitment to something, do you follow through with your commitments, or do you tend to not follow through? Tell me a little bit about yourself when you make a decision you're going to do something. And so I want to ask them questions for them to begin to sell me on why they're somebody that I should consider working with. And by asking good questions...
I'm telling you, these little things, these little phrases that he's tested over 21 years, he doesn't say anything by accident anymore. This is all tested. It's not. You're not somebody. You're not guessing here.
I figure I got about 58,000 hours in this industry, so...
Is that what, did you actually figure that out?
Yeah, well,
Are you a pilot, too?
Malcolm, it was talked about when you have 10,000 hours in something, you're considered to be really good at it, and so I figured out how many hours I
had.
had.
You have way more than 10,000.
No, 58,000, yeah.
Oh, 58,000. I was thinking 5,800. 58,000, yeah, that makes sense. What I want to talk about one topic, and then I want to ask you a question as we close out. Todd came here just as a favor to all of you, took time out of his Saturday with his family and everything else.
And as a favor to my friend Jules right here.
She is so sweet. She is. We talked yesterday or the day before. Most of you don't know this, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. We've just announced a new event that's going to be coming up in May 17th through the 20th, on cold market recruiting. In other words, when you've gone through your warm market and you're still building your other list, using some cold market techniques in order to be able to do that. And you had some comments on that. I put together, so you know, and I'll talk to you about it a little bit more later, a lineup that you will not believe. 12 of the most prominent speakers in the world on how to maximize Facebook, YouTube, your own website, email marketing, advertising, cold calling, solo ads, working leads, the whole thing, which all the professionals have done and all the top earners have done, have learned how to do. And that's going to be over a course of a weekend. The value of it's 50,000 plus if you were going to hire each of these people individually for an hour of their time. But that, I'll talk to you more about that in a little bit. But why would attending something like that be helpful for people?
Well, before I answer that question, I want to reinforce something that Eric said. As I was listening to his training, it was just like deja vu, everything I say, he's saying. But it is all about cultivating your list. It's all about continuing to add new names to that list. Even if, and one of the things I love that he said is so true, and that's even if you never call them, just put them on your list. Build a relationship with them. And for me, it's about building the relationships with them until I determine it's the right time in their life. It's not that everybody is a prospect that you have to approach. If I said, Bob, just off the record, how are things going? He says, Todd, man, I'm having the best year that I've had in 20 years. Things are great. I'm not going to approach him right now. Okay? I'm going to congratulate him. Man, what would you attribute that to? Why do you think you have been so successful and others haven't? So I'm going to show an interest in him, get him talking, and just build that relationship. So first and foremost, you should be constantly adding names to your list. You should constantly be looking at how you can build those relationships with those people, and then look for the right time to approach them. And if you're constantly doing that, hopefully you don't ever have to go into a real cold market recruiting environment. But if you are going to find yourself in that position, and I'm sure many of you probably already are, I think that the session that Eric was telling me about is fantastic. I mean, I think it's so much more valuable than just a session on how to build a network marketing business, because if you can master some methods of building the business in the cold market, just like I said a minute ago, when you learn something, you can teach it. Until you've done something, you can't teach it with credibility. But if you can go to this type of an event and learn methods and techniques that work for you, and you begin to be effective in cultivating relationships and developing new contacts in the cold market, you can use what you've learned to help people. And that probably, in my opinion, right now today in the industry is probably one of the greatest skills that people can learn, because you go through and you'll exhaust your list of 100 people, and then you're like, what do I do now? So I think, as I told you, I don't think there's any event you've put together that I think is of more value than that event you put together.
I agree. The question I want to kind of end with, I want to be respectful of your time, is defining moments. I'm this huge fan of defining moments, and people over the course of my career have had a dozen defining moments. These moments that totally changed everything. Sometimes they come out of crisis, they come out of negative emotional space. Sometimes they're inspirational because you get inspired. Sometimes you get mad and you decide you're going to change something, and your life is never the same. When I'm describing that to you, something probably popped in your head. One or two probably popped into your brain. What would that be?
Well, I'm smiling because he asked me this last time, and I didn't have an answer.
You don't remember?
I didn't.
You don't have a defining moment?
It was what I was telling you about when I was driving down the street in the car, where I finally reached a point where I said, is this how I want to live the rest of my life? And, when you're 27 years old and what you're doing is not what you want to do the rest of your life, then you say, the longer I continue to do what I don't want to do the rest of my life, the longer I'm continuing to waste my life. So if there was a defining moment, it was when I said, I don't want to live the life that I was living any longer, and I wanted to find a vehicle where I could live the quality of life that I wanted. And I believe that you can live any quality of life you want. I mean, anything is available out there. You just have to get clear on what you want. And what I love about this particular vehicle is it's a vehicle that you can get started with virtually no investment, and you can build a residual income that will pay you more money than you can spend if you pay the price, if you apply yourself, if you strive for excellence to be the best of the best. Remember, income follows value. So if you want your income to grow, you must first grow your value. Don't think if you're making $30 an hour in your day job today that you're going to come into here and make $100 an hour without increasing your value. And so, when I talk about striving for excellence, that's all about increasing your value as a network marketing professional at the elements that I defined a moment ago. But it's also about pushing yourself to be the best that you can be. And, so often it's, when I'll see somebody join the business and they'll call 10 people and they'll sponsor 8 of them, and I'll see somebody else call 100 and not sponsor 1. What's the difference? It's more than the invitation. It's the relationship that those people have before they ever join the business. The person who, that never returns my phone calls, that never returns my emails, never returns my texts. Now they call me and they want me to look at something. No, thank you. They don't RSVP for the parties that we invite them to, and now I'm going to listen to what you have to say. No, I'm not. And so it's about, if you show an interest in people and you're building a relationship with them and you show people respect, and when they send you emails you respond to them, and when they send you text you respond to them, when they call you you respond to them, and you're doing the things that cause people to respect you, then everybody's going to listen to you. But until that time, then people struggle. And so I think that it's about striving for excellence. If you want to become great in this business, look at the elements that allow you to become great. Constantly push yourself to be the best that you can at those, but at the same time, be looking to grow and develop yourself and to make yourself a better person and a better human being. I mean, as many of the great speakers say, for your life to get better, you've got to get better. For things to improve, you have to improve. To achieve what you've never achieved before, you must become someone you've never been before. You must be willing to do what you've never done before. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. I mean, I can go on and on with all the different quotes that I've heard over the years. And by the way, one of the things you should certainly be doing is consuming self-development content. Whether it's Success Magazine, whether it's other great books, but continue to, don't think I know it all. You might know a lot of this stuff, but are you implementing it? And, as you listen to this kind of self-development content, it's going to help you grow as a person. It's going to give you insights. It's going to make your beliefs stronger. It's going to give you greater confidence. It's going to give you greater motivation. It's going to allow you to learn things that you don't know today that will make you a person of greater value to the market.
How good is Todd Smith? I'm going to give you a chance to do this. This is, if you ever wondered how I do Network Marketing Pro shows, this is my high-tech setup right here. So this is going to end up on Network Marketing Pro. So now show him your appreciation, would you?